Welcome back to my YouTube channel and to my training room. If you were watching last week, you will have seen me put a stack of heavy metal plates on a 70-ton flat car. You may also remember that I promised a similar load with larger plates mounted diagonally on a well car. Well, I wasn't quite sure when I would get round to doing it, but it turned out it was sooner rather than later. So let me show you what I've been doing. Well, here is my well car along with a very large packing crate that has been riding around in it for a while. Here's the steel plates that I'm going to combine to make a load for it. I'm going to build some kind of cradle to carry them on the diagonal because some of them are quite tall. And although the plates are all ready to go, it's probably going to take me a while to do it because I've got to design a cradle for it. So it's something that will hold it in place and look like it's strong enough to do the job. I'm thinking with the extreme weight of the steel, 4x4s might be a little light. Let me see if I can find some 6x6s. Well, I've put together one A-frame. I just temporarily mounted it on the car. Those will stack in like that. If I bring the camera around, that's looking as though it might work. Obviously the bottom cord is still over length because I don't know quite where I've got to cut it yet. So what I now need to do is make 5 of those exactly the same. I think this calls for a jig. So stay tuned and I'll be right back. Well, I've just put a jig together quickly around this first frame. I started off by marking a perfect 90-degree angle on a piece of scrap styrene. Put these 2 pieces on, and then I've got these 2 triangular pieces. This one fills that entire area there. This one is undersized, and this one here doesn't go all the way to the ends because I want to give myself room to maneuver while still holding all the critical pieces in the right places. This brace here is not really critical. If it ends up slightly out of alignment on some of them, that won't matter, as long as the other 3 pieces are all exactly the same. So now what I'm going to do is cut a batch of other pieces and glue up 4 more exactly like that. So don't go away, I'll be right back. Well, here's the 5th one just set up in the jig. Note that I made the jig out of styrene. That's because the parts I'm using it for are made out of wood, and the wood glue won't glue to the styrene. If I was making a jig for use with styrene parts, I would have made it out of wood for the same reason. And now those are pretty much the same. They're close enough. I've still got to trim the bottom cords and the top piece. So what I'm going to do now is use my original as a pattern to cut all the main diagonals the same length. Now this is one place where using a paper template to join these will actually probably work in my favour, because I can use a little spot of white glue to glue it here and then cut it off later. And if I do end up with any residue stuck to the bottom of the wood, I can just sand it off lightly once the glue's set up. And here's the last one, which is the better side, this side I think. And there it is. 6 very large metal plates of assorted sizes. I haven't calculated the total volume of steel, but I know it's significantly less than what I did with the last load. I have to find a way of getting it to sit until the glue sets up. Right. Let's just weight it like that and I'll come back later. I've got the load largely assembled. That cradle to me looks as though it's strong enough to do the job. What I need to do now is get some 4x4s along the bottom to lock it in place, and then just of course cut the horizontal pieces off because they are currently way too long. Let me just check something. Well, I have the lower members on now. Those lock it over the car to stop it sliding off. Now what I think I'm going to do is arrange a couple of chains across it diagonally. I'll glue it down there and on the back corner and the other way, and I think that will make it look as though it's properly secured. I want the chain long enough so it can hang down and touch the deck, because I'm thinking with a car like this the chain would actually be welded to the deck. I don't seem to be able to get another drop out of it. Oh, there it is, all on the tweezers where I didn't want it. Right, everything is glued together except what I wanted to. Right, I just cut the excess length of chain off. And that one has now broken. And of course it's done so now that I no longer have any excess length to hold it with. Well, after a little bit more messing around, I finally got the chains to work. And unlike all the other loads that I've made so far, this one is significantly different on either side. So I have to decide which way around I want to display it. I think I'm going to call that the back of the load, even though it depends on your viewpoint. Here we are. Large steel plates carried diagonally on a well car. With that load complete, I now have two alternatives for my well car. So I might alternate them between operating sessions. Anyway, it was a lot of fun to make it. A little bit of frustration now and again, because it didn't go 100% according to plan, but then what project ever does. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye for now.